Excellent. Now we are live, and the numbers will start to populate up a little bit. So, but we'll keep chit-chatting. One of the reasons why I wanted to have you on is because I truly see you as an up-and-coming guy, and I have watched your trajectory since, I don't know, probably 2015, somewhere in there. So it's been a while. It's been a while. And I'm usually the quiet guy in the background just watching everybody do their thing, and I stick my head out every now and then. But I go back to the old days of Jay Abraham and Dan Kennedy. Dan Kennedy's concept of lumpy mail, sending an envelope with something in it, so when they get it, they're like, ooh, there's something in here. You know, like a keychain or something. And, you know, he came up with that whole concept of lumpy mail, which increases opening rates by 40%. I mean, think about this too. Most people open their mail over the trash can. They're going through their mail, and it's just like, yes, bill, no, yes, trash, that kind of thing. And that's what happens every single day. So how do you get people's attention? From my old school days, Dan Kennedy said, use the lumpy mail. Use the lumpy mail. He said, and if you have to hire someone to hand address the envelopes, then do it. I wasn't aware that you could even send a ball, you know, like a ball that you buy for $1, like the kids would play kickball with. There's actually a ball rate in the U.S. Postal Service. You can actually write a letter or something on a ball with a Sharpie and send the ball. They actually, there's a rate for that. I mean, I'm just like, what? So, but he was the master of opening rates, absolute master of opening rates. And when I was coming up, opening rates were like 2%. And if you had 3 to 5, man, you were lucky. But now with email, I mean, I typically get about a 30-35% opening rate with my emails, and I'm pretty happy with that. Now, you know, Ben Settle will talk about, you know, it's not about opening rates, it's about those that buy. You know, people saying, well, my deliverables are higher than anyone else's. He's like, cool. How much? He reminds me of Kevin O'Leary on Shark Tank. You know, you get these young guys with their products, you know, they're bragging about their products, and when it finally gets to Kevin O'Leary, Mr. Wonderful, he'll say, okay, what were your sales last year? That was it. Like, he don't want to know about the features and benefits. What were your sales last year?
Yeah.
That's it. Bottom, like, boom, that's it. So, like, and that's Ben Settle. Oh, really? You know, 35% open rate? Great. How many click-throughs did you get? You know, and then it's nothing but crickets. So that's funny.
Yeah, that's actually something Shane's really opened my eyes to. Is I used to be obsessed with like open rates and all the like data, and he was like, "Well, how much money did you make from that email?" And I was like, I mean, we sold a couple. He's like, okay, cool. What was the open rate? And I actually started finding some of the emails that had lower open rates were doing better. And so Shane really helped me understand or be more, I guess, data driven, more scientific with everything. Because before I tended to be a little bit more, oh, today was a lucky day. Oh, yeah. Okay, let me use the subject line more often. This opener. Okay, great. And if I didn't have a good day, I would get like, oh, man. Yeah, today I guess isn't the day. And this is probably me about 1.5 years ago, 2 years ago. And then I started working with Shane, like behind the scenes from a mentor standpoint. And now him and I are business partners. But back then, he helped me start getting way more scientific. And even to this day, it's still something he pushes. Is like, Dylan, like example from a social media standpoint. And I balance it a little bit. You don't want to be, at least in my opinion, you don't want to be too salesy, because I do want to grow my social media following. I am very, very much so value focused. But at the same time, the people that complain about you trying to sell, well, they're never going to buy anyways. So that's still something I'm learning to balance, is providing more than enough value. Like we were talking about earlier, the 10K masterclass, the YouTube video. I had so many influencer friends reach out to me. Oh my God, Dylan, why did you put that up there for free? It's a 45-minute video. That could be a course. And I was like, because I keep getting asked these questions and I want to answer people. Because if you're a beginner, like going through my course, yeah, you're going to get value from it. But at the same time, if I can help kind of speed you up. Once you actually get the course, you're going to go just light years faster. So from an influencer standpoint, you need to focus on obviously value, but you also need to not be scared of selling, because if you actually have a good product or a good service, you should be talking about it, whether it's in your email lists. Like, you can sell in every single email. That's something that Shane really helped me really like understand, is like the soft sell. Like, oh, and by the way, you can check this out. Or in this email, we talked about this. That's actually something I spoke about in Freelancer Profit Manual, or insert whatever your product is. And as long as you lead with the story and you lead with the emotion and the lesson, and you're providing value, then sell as much as you want. So that's, for me, from an email marketing standpoint, has helped me not only for my own email list, but also with clients. And now I'm also molding that into social media as well. Like Instagram, I would never say I'm an expert with, but when it comes to Twitter, I definitely know what I'm doing. So example, like I'll run 1 or 2 promos a day. Like, you could argue, well, you could do more than that. I agree. But at the same time, I don't want you to see my social media profile and it's just sell, or get on my email list. So something I like to do, like using Hype Fury, and if you use, there's plenty of other platforms as well, but I use Hype Fury, is I'll actually run a timed sell. So basically, after that 2-hour, 4-hour mark, it deletes. It's clean. You no longer see it on the timeline. And for me, because I like the aesthetic side. Whenever you go to my Twitter profile, I want it to be videos, pictures, threads, different tweets that I'm putting out, and you see it, you're like, oh my gosh, this is amazing. This is just what I was looking for. I don't want you to go to my Twitter profile and be like, okay, he's selling this course, he's selling this course, he's trying to get me on his email list. Like, that should be like, by default, that's going to happen at some point once I provide enough value, build enough trust, build enough authority. And I think that's something that money Twitter is lacking. A lot of the times they go too hard on the just sell. They don't really put as much into the value side. Like, we should be having conversations like we're doing right here, helping people, sharing information. Like the video I did that was like 45 minutes long on how to actually go about getting 10K a month as a freelancer. Those things should be going out there, and you should be telling people about it. And then you can show people within the course, but they at least need to understand the thought processes. And that's something that I guess I'm evolving still. Obviously, I'm still like a level 5 of 1,000. So I'm still like growing and evolving. That's something I'm becoming more and more aware of, is balancing the sells to value, but also once somebody actually gets into the product or to whatever it is, it's actually showing in greater detail. So like telling people, and this goes for anybody that's trying to build a personal brand, you need to like tell people about like freelancing, tell people about whatever it is you're trying to sell. And then once they actually get into the product, that's when you can actually show it. And this is actually a mistake I made with one of my first products, is I just made all these videos telling people about it. This last product that I put out on how to actually grow an email list and all that, I literally had a screen record everything. I was like, here's how you do it. I let them watch me write an email live. I showed them everything. So from a content creator standpoint, personal brand standpoint, if you can understand that and you can apply it, one, you're going to change way more lives, but also you're going to make way more money. So it's a win-win.
Yeah. All right. So let's start the show here. Okay. And the people that are watching, as you know, my name is George Bruno, and we are doing a hot seat tonight. And we have resident expert Dylan Madden with us. He is an expert in email marketing, copywriting, and the freelancing way of life versus getting up, going to a job, hating what you do for 40 years, and cursing everything and wishing that 5 p.m. would come quickly. He is our resident expert tonight. And we also have Christina Red Rock Fit, who is new to Twitter and Instagram, but she has been exploring leaving the world of over-the-road trucking. She's a fitness person, a fitness enthusiast, working her way to be a fitness expert, and wants to use social media to get that out. So I am the host and facilitator. Dylan is the resident expert, and Christina is in the hot seat. So I will start with a question, and I will ask Christina, where are you now in your journey to be financially free or free from going to a job?
Okay. So I was doing the 70-hour work week over the road in the truck.
That's a little bit different than Tim Ferriss' 4-hour work week.
Yeah. So while I was over the road, I was purchasing a property. I bought a trailer to put on top of it. And so I got everything situated to actually have a living space other than the truck, the semi, right? And so gradually I started like shifting gears with my YouTube channel. It was like I had started out van life, and then once I started driving truck for a living, that became the channel, just trucking everything. So I was trying to like maneuver it over to fitness, because I was like, well, I don't want to be trucking the rest of my life. And what could help people? Like, what would attract people that they need help with? So I was thinking, well, fitness might be a good field to get into. And so slowly been working towards that. And then, like he said, I just started the Instagram and Twitter, and I'm like, what do you do with this thing? I have no idea. I'm so used to the YouTube. So anyway, he had told me to start following you, and then I watched your video this morning. It just popped up. It was Masterclass Will Make You 10,000 in 2022. And it was geared towards people like me. Like, where do I start? Like, I have no idea where to start. I don't know how to use these platforms. The big thing that helped was you had a list of the skills, because I had seen a tweet from Jeff Putnam saying, you have to have these skills, but he only listed writing. And I'm like, I'm not a writer. What are the other skills? And so you had a ton of skills listed, and you actually went through and explained what those skills are instead of just, a random tweet.
Right.
So I thought that was way more helpful. And like I was telling GB, I was like, this is gold, this information, just this video. So anyway, that's when he got the idea to interview you. And I thought that would be really cool. And of course, I'm nervous.
Yeah, and anything I can help you with. I mean, what skills are you naturally drawn to? That's a big thing that I push to people. Like, they see copywriting, they see graphic design, web design, but maybe that's not what they're naturally good at. Do you have any skills that you're naturally drawn to from that list, or maybe not on that list? Like, you just have a natural talent with it.
The thing that popped up immediately when I looked at it was photography, because I do like to take pictures of like landscapes. And so I was thinking, well, maybe that's what I should be focusing, not so much writing. But also, how do I incorporate that into fitness? I'm not sure. But that was the main thing that stuck out, because I'm not, a computer geek. I don't have that graphic design stuff, coding and all that,
But I will interject this. Everybody sucks when they first start. Everybody.
Especially I did.
When it comes to writing, when I think about J.R.R. Tolkien, and he just had an idea in his head and wrote down on a piece of scrap paper the words, "In a hole in the ground there lived a hobbit." And he moved that piece of paper over to the side of his desk, and that thing sat there. And it started building a story in his head. Of course, that we know is Lord of the Rings and The Hobbit and such. But it started out on a piece of scrap paper. And I think about how many business plans have been started on the back of like a placemat or a napkin, in a restaurant.
Right.
And the thing that you say that you're not strong at is probably, I think, going to be the thing that you are going to end up being strong at. You say, well, you're not really good at writing. Nobody comes out of the womb being good at writing. What do you think of that, Dylan?
I mean, for me, like that was, I kind of just randomly got thrown into writing. I didn't see myself as being a good writer. I was always naturally drawn to it. Like I was better in English. I sucked at math, blah, blah, blah. So like I knew the basics of writing, but obviously copywriting and writing to persuade and all that is drastically different than what you learned in English. But what threw me into that is when I started working with, shout out Victor Pride, started working with him on a few things. And I was like, oh, actually, I think I have a natural talent with this. And then I started working with Cernovich with Gorilla Mind. I wrote some of their articles, and I started writing articles for other people. And over time, I started getting better and better and better and better and better. And then I started noticing what worked, what didn't work. And then coincidentally, I also got thrown into this in 2019, started writing emails for people. And I considered, you have a newsletter, right? And I was like, yeah. They were like, well, we like your writing. How would you like to write our newsletter? We can just test it for a week and see where that goes. And I was like, oh, okay, I'll try it out. Yeah, sure, I'll just do it. And that led into, that literally was the transition that took me from, I was cleaning properties, I was doing Craigslist, to being able to travel the world. Was I started writing emails, and I started basically saying yes to anything and everything I could try, but it kept coming back to writing. So for you, don't know until you actually put in the reps and the experience. You don't know if you're going to be good or bad at writing. Like right now, you might not be, but that's because you haven't put in the time and the energy into getting that skill set. Like whenever I just got started, I didn't know how to set up a blog. I didn't know what WordPress was. I didn't know what a H1, H2, H3, none of that was. I didn't know how to put a featured image. I didn't know how to properly format things. I didn't know what a call to action was. I was like, call to action? What's that? What's a niche? I didn't know any of that stuff. It was through me doing self-study, just watching YouTube videos, reading tweets, actually doing it. That's over time, years and years later, everything clicked. And so that's what you need to do, is you just need to start learning different types of copywriting. And this is something I really tell people, like, just do it. Like with you, with your Twitter account, you can literally every single day train your copywriting ability. Like for me, with me getting into copywriting, I wouldn't say I'm the world's best copywriter, but I'm pretty good at what I do. Was just me actually doing it. Like I've read some of the copywriting books. I've, like, a mentor of mine, Shane Hunter, he's really great at copywriting. He's worked with Ben Settle, which is also a legend in copywriting, email copywriting. And it was just by me simply doing every single day that I got better. But one thing that stood out to me that you said is the fitness thing. Like that you could crush it on Twitter and Instagram specifically, just sharing your insights. This is something I tell people all the time. Like something to you that's completely normal and common sense to somebody else would be, oh my gosh, like the video that you said, just to relate this, you're like, that video, it just really stood out to me. To me, it's just common sense. But to you and to many other people, it's like, oh my God, wow, I didn't think about that. And there's so many people out there right now that if you told them your various fitness things, that they would be like, wow, I didn't know that. And those are the types of people that are going to want to be customers. They're going to want to follow you. They're going to want to support you. And also you're going to change their life. So for you, I would get on video. I would leverage my photography ability, start putting up good pictures, start posting tweets every day. And I put out the video, the 0 to 25K. It'll go way more in depth than what I'm about to do, but use that video to grow your Twitter account by engaging with other people that are leaders within certain niches. Post consistently, reply to tweets, quote tweets, and just provide value. And that's what's going to allow you to grow your Twitter account. And then as you start growing your Twitter account and you start growing your Instagram account, you can leverage that brand and now start taking on clients, whether it's email copywriting, making sales pages, or different things like that. I mean, that's what really helped me. Was I focused on building up my credibility through my blog. And then that's what got me living in Los Angeles for a couple of months with Victor Pride. It's what put me working with Cernovich. It's what put me working with Ed Lattimore, Alexander Cortez, all these different guys, was because I just put myself out there. I was literally like, I knew nothing whenever I got started. I just was making some affiliate sites and all of that. And then I started writing a blog, a personal blog, and I just kept putting myself out there. And then I was able to leverage that brand to start then taking on, at first, just small gigs, but eventually high-paying clients. Like one of my email marketing clients, they paid me $12,000 a month to write emails for them. If you would have told me I could do that a year ago, 2 years ago, 3 years ago, I wouldn't believe you. I'd be like, nobody's going to pay me that much money to write emails. There's no way. I'm not good at writing, but I put myself out there. I mean, does that kind of make sense?
Yeah, I was kind of wanting to, I was like, well, how would I get clients, like out of just cold, out of the blue? And, personal trainers were saying they had to do it in person through the gym. But I'm thinking that's going to be a real slow grind, trying to work up clients that way. So I didn't know if, if the Instagram and Twitter and all that would, I don't know if it would be any quicker or more reliable to get clients that way.
Mm-hmm. So, I mean, you could try both, but I mean, personally, what I would be doing is every single day, and I'm just thinking off the top of my head, like a content strategy for you. Like every single day, you could put out a video about a specific topic. You could put out maybe a short thread about a specific topic, and then you could just have some like from the hip tweet that you send out. For Instagram, you could repurpose that video to Instagram Reels. You could repurpose it. Like you could take a good photo of yourself and add like a description underneath. And just think about the type of people that you want to attract to you via the content that you put out. As an example, I'll use myself. I like to attract people that are into freelancing or want to make money online. So I talk about how I travel the world. I talk about how I got my girl to quit her job. I talk about retiring my mom. I talk about things like that, or I'll talk about freelancing and how it's changed my life. Or here's what I used to do. Here's what I'm doing now. So if I were you, I would share like any story that you have that got you into fitness. Like what got you into fitness? Like if you start telling people that, and then you can start telling people your mindset, your thought processes behind why you eat a certain type of way, why you use certain type of products instead of all the other mainstream products, or why you do this type of workout. That's the type of stuff that is, one, interesting, two, it's valuable, and three, it's going to attract those people to you because they're like, wow, I can't believe that. That's, wow, okay, that's amazing. And then before you know it, people start following you. Yeah.
It's funny, Dylan, when I think it was earlier in the week, Christina had said to me, what is copywriting? And you described it so perfect. And it was basically, it's persuasive writing.
Right. Yeah, I mean, people try to make copywriting some mystical thing that's like, because for me, I wouldn't say I'm the smartest person. I used to think like copywriting was some super hard thing. And then I realized it's like copywriting is really just understanding people's problems and then using the written word and even the spoken word to persuade them. That's really it. So for you, Christina, what I would recommend is identify the different types of people that you want to help, and to break that down even further, figure out like what types of like your type of fitness, what type of fitness or what type of people would benefit from that, your style of fitness. As an example, Victor Pride back in the day, his whole thing was like very simple workouts, 100 push-ups a day, 100 sit-ups, 100 squats. That was very attractive, especially for me. And back in those days, it's like 285 pounds. So being able to wake up at 5 a.m., do all those types of workouts, it was called 30 Days of Discipline, was life-changing.
You were 285 pounds?
Oh, it was ridiculous, yes.
Holy cow. You look great now, my Lord.
I appreciate that. And it was reading 30 Days of Discipline and applying that changed my life. So for you, you need to identify, like, I mean, can you kind of go into your story, like what got you into fitness or whatever? Would you mind doing that live?
No. Yeah, I mean, I can do that. Well, basically, the initial interest is, funny enough, wrestling. I had seen like women in wrestling that were, built. They had muscles and everything. And so I had picked up a muscle mag off the shelf with like these women were in kind of lingerie type outfits, but they had like guns. And I was just like, wow, this is sexy and powerful. And like that got me into wanting to start lifting. And eventually it went a whole new level when I decided to quit drinking. I had a drinking problem a long time ago. And when I decided to, go cold turkey, I put all that addiction and energy into the working out.
Okay.
And so like I went balls to the walls with the fitness stuff. And so that was kind of my journey with it.
I will tell you, years ago, Dan Kennedy used to say this: facts tell, but stories sell. And the way that you just described that right there, that is a blog entry, a Twitter post, a Twitter thread. That is an email subject. What you just did, that's a story that's going to sell, because my favorite author is C.S. Lewis, and he says friendship is created when one person says to the other, "Wow, you too?"
Mhm.
So in your audience, there are going to be people that are going to be like, "That was me. You just told my story. Wow." And you have them for life, so that whatever product you ever create, ever in the future, they're going to be the first ones to get it.
Mhm. Yeah, I mean, literally, you could tell a story. Like, we could use Lattimore as an example. He talks about his sobriety. That's a very interesting and intriguing story, and he's used that to build up his brand. For me, I tell my story of being 285 pounds. I tell my story of I used to be that weirdo in a parking lot at 3 a.m. picking up trash, changing trash cans, cleaning bathrooms. Then I would flip products on Craigslist. That's part of my story, and that's what led me to where I'm at now. So for you, you need to be telling your story. So you could put out a video, or you could put out, even better, just put out a thread about it. Like, just put out some kind of thread that has a strong opener, like, so a hook. So you could say something about how quitting alcohol, or whatever, how quitting alcohol got me into fitness, thread. And then you can start breaking down your story of where were you mentally? What got you into drinking? What made you realize, like, oh my gosh, I'm done with this. I'm quitting cold turkey. Quitting cold turkey. That's another thread that you could write right there. How you quit cold turkey with drinking alcohol, and then how you poured that into fitness. And as you do that, you start talking about that. It starts bringing people into your story, because you're the main character. Whenever somebody's following you, you're the main character. They're there to hear your story, to hear your thoughts, and learn from you. And then from there, you can turn that into a lead magnet. You can turn that into a product. You can turn that into coaching. There's a million different ways that we can monetize what you're doing. But right now, what we need to get you doing on Instagram and Twitter on a consistent basis, just telling your story, building your authority through sharing. Like, example, this is a form of building authority. Hey guys, I'm making this type of food today because X, Y, Z. Oh my God, she knows what she's talking about. That's authority right there. I'm doing this type of workout, or here's how to grow your biceps if you're a female, blah, 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 blah. Like, all those different types of things, you're going to build your authority. By building your authority and you're telling your story, they're going to start relating. As they start relating, they're going to want to buy from you. They're going to want to get on your newsletter. They're going to share your story, share your content. And that's what I would focus on right now. Instead of going head first into freelancing right now, I would focus on building up my brand, and that's going to give you more credibility. And it's also going to give you access to other people. Like, I could much easier now take on a client versus me whenever I was just getting started. Because they'll go to my profile, oh, wow, he gets decent engagement. He's got a decent amount of followers. People talk positively about him. Oh, yeah, I'll get on the phone with him. And I can do that without showing any of the client results that I've gotten. Just the fact that I have a personal brand, that automatically gets me in the door. Now, of course, on the call, I've got to actually show them I know what I'm talking about. But the benefit is I actually do. So the same thing goes for you. Build your personal brand. Share your story, share the different insights you have. And then once you get to that point and you have a brand, that's when you can launch your copywriting service or whatever it is you want to do. And you'll also have the experience. That's how I gained the experience I had. Is I wrote for my own newsletter. I can't name drop certain people, but certain big bloggers back in the day wrote some of their newsletters, and doing different things like that, writing blog posts, everything I could do to gain some experience. So for you, you'll gain experience through posting descriptions on your Instagram pictures and videos. You're going to gain experience writing your own emails, writing your own threads, writing your own tweets. And then you're going to build the habit of consistency. And as you do that over the next couple of months, whatever, as you start growing your profile, you're going to have way more experience than 99% of people just by doing that.
Okay.
See, I told her, I said, make sure you take notes, and that pen has been moving the whole time. So, and actually taking notes is a sign of respect and shows that you're a student. And I like that. And, Christina, you want to be a teacher of people. And I constantly say everybody's a student and everybody's a teacher. Now, this is your chance to be a student, and you're learning this. I know Ed Lattimore pretty well. And I just saw him 2 weeks ago. And he always calls me President Snow. So, like, whenever I introduce him to somebody, he'll his way of saying goodbye to me is, "May the odds ever be in your favor." So he's obviously a Hunger Games guy. So, but yeah, I mean, when I look at his background and like what he went through, that's a huge part of what he is now. As a matter of fact, where in the world? Let's see. Not caring what other people think is a superpower. Book by Ed Lattimore.
Mm-hmm.
So I have that right here. This is one thing, Dylan, that Christina hasn't told you. And I know in a one-to-one session with her, if you just like dig deeper with her, 12 years in the military.
Oh, okay.
She was a fitness model. She was on stage in a bikini, posing. I mean, that's no joke. The average woman is years away from that. Yeah. And so she has some of that discipline, some of that background. How can 12 years in the military, how can a fitness model, how can she leverage that information for her future to break away from a job?
So, I mean, the way you could leverage that is, once again, I mean, people that are in the military, people that are interested in being like a fitness model, all those different types of things are audiences. So by you also telling that story, I mean, you've got so many stories right now that you could have an amazing personal brand. Tell them about the alcohol stuff, tell them about the fitness modeling, what got you into that, what it was like preparing for each show, talk about all the discipline, all the behind the scenes things, leverage the pictures, any video anything that you have from those days, showcase that. And that's also going to build relatability. It's going to make people connect to you because it's emotional, and it's social proof, which is like a massive component of people trusting you, is showing that you actually can back up your words with pictures and video. Then when it comes to the military, you could also share stories about what made you want to join the military. What was it like being in the military? What skills did you learn in the military? What habits did you get from the military? And just telling that story alone, I mean, you could monetize that, but also from a personal brand standpoint, like if I was in the military or if I was interested in being some kind of fitness model and you start telling this, I would be like, oh my God, I need to learn whatever she's talking about. Or even if I wasn't into that, but I was still into fitness, maybe I was a woman trying to get in better shape, and you start telling me that, I'd be, wow, that's awesome. I was cussed. That's awesome. That's so inspiring. And all that type of stuff, all it does is it builds your social proof. It builds your credibility. It builds the relatability, the emotion. That's why every other day I'm telling my story, because by you telling your story, people are going to start relating to you. So you need to lean into that as much as possible. You could even talk about photography, like what got you into photography. Go ahead.
You had said a word, and you and I, we use a lot of the same language, but people who don't have a email list, people who don't send out emails and do copywriting, which I do every day. I write much better than I speak. You said social proof. That's not a word that the average person throws around. You mentioned that to her, developing social proof. Explain to her precisely what that means and what she needs to do to gain social proof.
So social proof is literally just proving what you say. So any like example, whenever I'm reaching out to somebody, which I don't do this as much anymore because I don't want any more work. Back in the day, I would say, hey, this is what I can do for you. Here's how much money I've made one of my clients for the past X amount of days. And then I would back it up with a picture. So for you specifically, it would be showing your time as a fitness model, showing your time as somebody in the military. Any pictures you could have back in the day whenever you were drinking versus you now. And by you posting that, it's going to make people believe the stories that you're telling. It's going to add more emotion to it as well. So from a personal brand standpoint, that's a game changer. Like anybody can tweet about stuff, but if you can tweet about stuff, add the story, plus add the pictures, it makes it real in my mind. And then much later, whenever you decide to get into the freelancing path, you can leverage the social proof. So the example, your Twitter following, how many Twitter followers you have, how much engagement you're getting, how much money you've generated through your emails to your newsletter. As you start taking on clients, you can leverage those results. Obviously, keep it anonymous because most people that you write emails for don't want other people knowing you're writing their emails. You can still say, if you get their permission, here's how much money I generated one of my clients for the past X amount of days. And then you go from somebody that says that, oh, I'm a great email copywriter to, yeah, I'm an email copywriter. Here's how much money I've actually made one of my clients. And bullet point, bullet point, bullet point. Here's what I can do for you. Oh, wow, this person knows what they're talking about. And you can apply this to the fitness. So selling your own fitness products, fitness coaching. And once you get to the freelancing standpoint, you can leverage that to start closing clients.
Here's something else. The whole concept of creating a timeline or showing a timeline. Jeff Putnam will do stuff. Now, I was banned off of Twitter over a year ago. It was January of last year, so I haven't been on Twitter in over a year. I don't even know what's going on anymore. That's a blessing, and because it was a source of anxiety in my life. Yeah. But so it did kind of relieve some of that stuff. But from what I remember Jeff doing something like 2015, homeless, 2016, family living in a hotel, 2017, I'm working breaking rocks. I don't know why. I don't know where the phrase breakfast cook at Denny's came from, but I just remember him somewhere saying that he was a breakfast cook at Denny's. And then, like 2019 started a company, end of 2019 started another company. 2020 was making enough money so my wife no longer had to go to work. She could now be a stay-at-home mom. Timelines are important. And I notice you talk about timelines. You talk about, I used to flip stuff on Craigslist. I was cleaning apartments and this and that. How important is the timeline of our journey? How important is that to promote who you are now and what you do?
Oh, it's super important. And the reason, like the thought process behind it, this is why I keep referencing this throughout the entire video, and I do it all the time on Twitter, is you have to understand that most people that are reading your content, they're at a certain place in life, and maybe they see you up here, they want to get up there. But if you just all the time are, oh, I'm the best, I'm this, I'm that. Yeah, sure, it's inspiring. But at the same time, if you can't show, like, here's where I was 3 years ago, here's where I'm at now. If you want to close that gap, follow all this information that I've provided, and then you'll get there. So, like, I remember being, like, back in 2014, this is when I started getting into the whole writing space. I had no idea how to start a blog. I had no idea how to do any of that stuff. And just by Victor putting out his articles, and started putting out their articles, they started making it more real because they would share, like, example, Mike's story with having skin issues, like sharing that type of stuff, sharing where he used to be, Victor sharing where he used to be. And it started making it took them from like this almost like idol standpoint, not that they're idols, but you know what I mean? Like they're super inspiring and then I was sitting there, what was I doing in 2014? I don't even know what I was working some job at that point. But I was working some job. I wanted to make money online. I was wanting to just be my own man. I didn't really have any examples of a proper guy, like man around me. But I saw these two guys. I was like, oh, they seem to know what they're talking about. Everybody else around me doesn't really. And by them showing the timeline, it made it real in my mind. So in hindsight, now that I'm thinking about it, that's a great question. That's why I share the timeline is people see me now that I've retired my mom. My girl doesn't have to worry about a job. I can travel the world. I'm living in Paraguay. I lived in Qatar for 9 months. I was all over Europe. And that's cool. It's fun. It's inspiring. But it doesn't mean anything to them if they can't get there. So but for you specifically, you need to be showcasing like, and this year I was an alcoholic. This year, this happened. This year, this happened. This year, this happened. Now here's where I'm at. And by doing that, it's going to make it relatable. It's going to make it to where they're like, wow, I mean, she was doing this. Now she's like awesome. She's doing this right now. That's amazing. Maybe I can as well. And then they're going to follow you. Then they're going to start reading your threads, watching your videos, getting on your email list. So I would say it's super crucial. And you'd be doing yourself a disservice by not showing that timeline. So I would do it all the time. Like Jeff is awesome, amazing guy. Like for me, that's why I share my story. And now you're going to start sharing your story with that timeline.
You know, it's funny. There are times I've introduced Victor Pride to my audience, and my audience has responded quite well. I mean, I've got Bold and Determined. This whole series by Victor. And he started one of his chapters with a quote about a guy that was painfully shy, couldn't talk to people. And he would rather be alone in his room playing guitar than have to socialize. Mm-hmm. And the quiz was, okay, who am I? And people were throwing out names. And it ended up being James Hetfield, the lead singer of Metallica, who was painfully shy, who, like, we can't even fathom the fact that he was shy. Like, he would rather just be alone than talk to people, but yet he has performed in stadiums and is arguably the brains behind maybe one of the best-selling metal bands of all time in history.
Yeah.
And then there's this thing called Imposter Syndrome where, and I know, Christina, I know you're going to go through this because I have sensed some of it, that you're going to be like, well, who am I? I'm just a truck driver. I can't be an authority on anything. That's what imposter syndrome is. It's like, you can't believe that people would actually want to listen to you or pay $20 for an ebook or something like that. Talk to us, Dylan, about imposter syndrome.
Yeah, so you'll definitely experience that at some point. Like I experienced it. I do even now, like, just to share something that's going through my life right now. I've got a team of people that work for me. And even sometimes I find myself like, who am I? Like, I've got these people that are working for me. They're depending on me for a paycheck. They're helping me with all these different projects. Like, who am I? Then I have to remind myself through experience that I'm walking myself into that position of leadership. Like, I don't have to be 100% the leader right now and 100% on it, but I have the track record of managing teams or clients. Now I'm doing it for myself. I've got that track record, and I use that as like a mental thing to remind myself. And then I'm going to grow into this leadership position. So whenever I start feeling like, oh man, who am I to do this, this, and this? I just remind myself via experience that, well, you actually are that. Maybe you're not the best at it yet. Like, as an example, getting on this. I was kind of nervous in the very beginning, but now we're sitting here having an amazing conversation. I'm going to continue to get better and better and better. Before I know it, it'll just be as simple as clicking a button. What's going on, guys? Still a bad here, blah, 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 blah. It's going to be that simple. So the same for you. You're going to experience that imposter syndrome, but then you have to remind yourself of how far you've come since whenever you put down the alcohol, once you got into the fitness model, once you got into the military, and think about all the amazing things you've actually accomplished. And now where you're at now, you're going to remind yourself, wow, okay, yeah, I actually, it's not going to 100% alleviate it yet, but now you feel, yeah, I do deserve this. And then as you have more people paying you, then you have more people saying positive things about you. And then you can actually see with your own two eyes, like, wow, the stuff that I'm talking about is actually changing people's lives. Like, people start quote tweeting you or replying to or sending you DMs every day. Like, oh my God, Christina, the thing you put out the other day, it really just blew my mind. Thank you so much. Or, oh, I've been following your program for the past 2 months. I've finally been able to lose weight. Now my husband wants to talk to me, different things like that. And you can just use that, and it's going to keep reminding you. Now, you're always going to have a sense of imposter syndrome here and there, but you just have to remind yourself through experience in your mind, just be like, no, this is just a fake thought. I'm going to continue growing every day. I'm going to get better. And you can use, like, example, I've got a Google Doc on my computer with hundreds of things that people have said positively about me, whether it's products, whether it's a positive comment on a blog post, whether it's a positive comment. I've got like 3 of them from you, George, with you saying, oh, I watched your video. So I was like, George, oh my God, that's crazy. He's commenting on my video. And I see that type of stuff. And it reminds me, like, Dylan, you do need to continue getting better and evolve, but at least people are recognizing you. So that should mean something. And so you could have a document of all the social proof and positive things, even if it's something as simple as great tweet. It could be something like that. And remind yourself that I do deserve to be here. And then don't allow that imposter syndrome to hold you back. Like, in my mind, and I'm not going to get religious in this, but I see that as the devil. It's the devil trying to throw me off my path. And I thank God for the foresight and the strength and the wisdom and I continue going down the path, and I don't allow the devil to take me away from the path that I'm going down. And I remind myself in my own mind that you do deserve to be here. You've actually helped people, and I've got tons of social proof to show that. But yeah, I mean, I guess that's my answer to imposter syndrome, but then also combating it as well.
Christina, let me ask you this. What do you feel is your sticking point? And then Dylan, address her sticking point.
Well, I was gonna bring something up earlier. You're just moving so fast. But like the Victor Pride book, something that kind of blew my mind is when you had opened the book. Like, I don't know if you could do that now, but you showed me like how he writes idea. Like, I was in my head, I had to write like Stephen King, like have this crazy detailed, masterpiece or something, and you were showing me how simple he writes. Yeah. And that blew my mind. I was like, wow, you can write like that? Because, schools, like, you have to write a certain way. And I don't know, that kind of like, whoa. I didn't even think you could write like that.
That's actually a really good point that you brought up. And it took me with him, like, because this is back 2016 to 2017, whenever I was in Los Angeles with him, and seeing how he wrote. And he basically just broke it down. He was like, people try to use these big words to sound intelligent and to make people think that, oh, I'm Mr. Big Shot, but that's not what people are there for. They're there for a specific solution. So for you, whenever you're writing your fitness stuff, don't try to sound all impressive. Just speak simply. Like, speak like this is something he used to tell me, speak as if you're talking to a 5-year-old. Like, literally just simplify it that much to where you don't have to use like all these giant sentences and big words to try to sound impressive. Just speak plainly, speak simply. And so to relate this to you, whenever you find yourself writing threads, don't try to use big words. Don't try to have all this proper formatted tweets and all that. And yes, there is an art to Twitter as well. But it's really just comes down to being very direct and simple in what you're saying. So instead of you having this big word for telling about your story with being a fitness model, you could instead just tell the story, share the emotion, because that is the energy that people feel whenever they're reading. They don't care that, oh, wow, she's got a really good vocabulary. They care about the story, what you went through and what got you to where you're at now, and then specifically how they can emulate that and change their life. And that's something that Victor taught me. That's something I've learned through direct experience now over years and years. And because whenever I finally started building up somewhat of an audience, I would find myself trying to be using all the big words and like editing, doing all this crazy stuff to like make it look better and better. And then I was like, nope, don't do that. Just tell the story. Yes, use proper grammar, obviously, but tell the story. Use short sentences, and they don't need to be some super long sentence. And actually, if you can have it to be shorter and more punchy, people like that more. Like, there's tons of data and all that backs that up. And this is something I've learned with email copy. Instead of having these long sentences, instead of having all these commas and different things, I'll use, like, instead of having a comma, it'll be 2 sentences. So it'll be one, like, I'll say this, period, this, period, this, period. Then I'll break it up with bold text, italics, bullet points, all that type of stuff. Yeah, because you have to make it easy for the person to read. Like, everybody's, like, to use Twitter as an example, maybe they're on their break at their job. Maybe they're, hopefully not, driving, and maybe they're at a red light reading Twitter. They're doing something, so their attention span is really short. So you want to keep it very direct and simple, and you want to use the pictures that you have to back up the story. You want to use very punchy words. You want to have bullet points. You want to have all of that, and that's going to help share your story, make it relatable, and then also easy to digest. Does that answer your question?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. That was my sticking point too. Like, where do I start writing? What am I writing? And yeah, getting over that barricade, I guess.
Yeah, just tell your story. And then, like, this is something Victor actually taught me. I used to sit there and try to edit while I was writing, and I would start thinking, oh no, this doesn't sound right. Let me rewrite this. Oh no, let me do this. And he was like, don't do that. Just tell the story right, step away, come back. And whenever because I lived with him for about 3 months, literally some articles that he would write would take him days and days and days to write. And I could see the first draft versus the final draft, and it's drastically different. So for you, don't think that as you're telling the story, it needs to be absolutely perfect. It doesn't. Tell the story, let the story be expressed out of you, and then come back through. And then that's when you can edit it, make it look nice and pretty, and like have the bullet points and make sure it's short. You didn't have any typos, nothing like that. And that's going to make your writing so much easier. And if like you ever have an issue with, they call it writer's block. I do believe it, but I don't, because it's so easy to fix. Just ask like yourself, what type of outcome or what type of problem am I trying to solve? So let's use an example of something with your fitness, like why protein is important. Then break that why protein is important down into bullet points, 2 bullet points, 5 bullet points, 12 bullet points, whatever. And then boom, now you have a topic or bullet points for each of your different tweets. So you could build, okay, well, the first reason is this. That gives you a couple tweets right there, or an article or an email, whatever it is. The second thing, boom. Third thing, boom. Fourth thing, boom. And that's going to make writer's block be non-existent to you, because you are the expert. You obviously know what you're talking about with fitness. So, and you have all these different stories. So if you can bullet point it and then break down the big idea into different steps to get there, I mean, you could effortlessly write regardless of what it is. And then as you write it, you tell the story. And that's something I really want to push, like just push to, like tell the story, add the emotion. That's actually something I am fixing once again on my Twitter, is I used to only focus on story. And then people were like, a mentor of mine, Ed, he was like, Dylan, you need to put more value out there. Tell them why they should get to freelancing, different points like that. Now Shane is actually saying, Dylan, bro, you put out so much value. I need to know who Dylan Madden is. So now I'm going back and telling the story. So for you, just to share that wisdom with you, make sure you're, yes, sharing fitness-related content, like tips, tricks, different things like that. But also the reason people are going to follow you, the reason people are going to want to buy from you and support you and all that type of stuff is your story. Yes, you're showing up the value every day, but I'm not going to be able to relate to you unless I actually know what your story is, who you are, and all of that. So as you continue telling your story, you continue sharing the photos, the videos of you. Every single day you're posting new content, etc. And then you take your big ideas, you can break that down into a video series. You can break that down into a thread. You can break that down into an email. That it's going to be a game changer for you. And you're not going to ever have a day where you sit down and you're like, man, I don't know what to write about. Oh, I don't know what to make a video about. Because all you have to do is ask yourself a simple question. Like, why is protein important? Why should people work out, whatever, 4 times a week, every day, whatever your belief is, and then break that down into bullet points. And then boom, you have unlimited stuff to write about, unlimited stuff to record videos about.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
I think a lot of times people don't think that they have a story. And,
Yeah.
you know, and part of that whole imposter syndrome is like, why would somebody believe that I'm an expert? And I think one of the answers to that is, if you don't believe you're an expert, no one else is going to believe it. So you actually have to convince yourself first. So the first person that you have to sell is you.
Yeah. I 100% agree with that. And I can't remember where I read this, but basically that nobody cares about you. Nobody's going to save you. And I was at a dark point in my life at that time. And I really realized that. I was like, wow, like I can have like people come out and be my mentor. I can have people give me the right information. But unless I believe in myself and unless I come out and I push myself to do it, the best information in the world is not going to change anything. So like, you can listen to this whole thing. We could keep talking and all of that. But if you don't believe in yourself, because you're awesome, you've overcame a bunch of different things, even things that I don't know about. You've went through a bunch of different things. You've accomplished a bunch of things. So that in and of itself should make you be like, wow, I can believe in myself. I've done awesome stuff. And once you understand that by you believing in yourself, everything else becomes easy. Everything else becomes possible. Like use people like George, use people like such as myself to realize like, wow, they're doing this. I can do that too. And the only difference between us and you is we believed in ourselves. We still believe in ourselves, and we show up every single day and constantly push ourselves. So that's literally the only thing that's separating us from you or any of the people that are watching is we believe in ourselves. We put ourselves out there. We share our story. We share like how we got to where we're at, all these different things. That's what you're going to do now with your fitness. You're going to talk about what got you into fitness, addiction, 1,000 other things that I could talk about with like everything we've talked about on this call. Tell your story, and that's what's going to continue pushing you. And just always remind yourself, like, you're awesome. Like, you've overcame a ton of things. Once again, a lot of things that I probably don't even know about. And that in and of itself should make you believe in yourself. And then by you believing in yourself and you just having the guts to tell your story, other people are going to start believing in you, following you, supporting you. And I mean, that's really the secret. If you believe in yourself, you put that energy out there, put that effort out there, people are going to give it back to you.
Christina tells me a story privately once, and I hope I'm not blowing your cover with this. You were at a coffee shop, and there was a table of young men talking, and your commentary about how they were interacting with the waitress. That was, I mean, what a great story that was. Do you remember when you were telling me that?
Yeah.
And then you made a comment about how, like, what happened to the American male? It's like they're all using the word, they're all pussified. They all like all American men now, younger men, I'd say like under 50, they all talk like pussies. You know, they all have like this pussified affect. And you know, and for a woman to make that, for a guy to make a comment like that, he's a hater. But if a woman, that information and that observation is being made by a woman in America, that's pretty profound. Christina, what did you mean by that when you were talking about like the whole pussification of America and the way that men are talking now? They all sound like they're gay, so to speak. And I'm not putting down gay people, but you know, I promise I'm not going to be PC, because PC is death. Being politically correct will kill you. But what do you comment on that, Christina?
Well, the scenario was there were two guys sitting across from each other. The waitress was actually a guy, a waiter, and they had complimented him on his necklace. It's just like, and they had been talking about vegetarianism and all this stuff, and I'm just like, if you hadn't known, you'd probably thought it would have been two chicks sitting there. But I was kind of like thinking back in the day when guys were into rock music and motorcycles and that kind of thing, and it was just kind of like I was saying, it's like a pussification, like the sperm has gone down in quality or something.
The gene, I think your exact words were something's happening to the gene pool. I think those were your exact words.
Yeah, this probably isn't PC.
No, it is bad. It's bad. Like, I didn't realize how bad it was, because I'm still pro-America. I'm not one of those people that's anti-America, not by any means. But I realized a lot of the things that I've been told growing up about the world outside of America weren't true. So whenever I was, like, example, in Romania, whenever I was staying in Hungary, whenever I was in Turkey, whenever I was in Qatar, whenever I was in the UAE, all over South America, I started noticing all these different things. Like, and this is kind of off topic, but whenever I was in the UAE, as an example, my perception of Islam was like, oh, we already know from an American standpoint what our perception was. And so whenever their call to worship would come on, I would be like, oh gosh, I don't like this. I don't like this. Then as I started living there, and I started realizing, one, obviously it's completely fine. They're not a threat within reason. But something that was a mind blower for me whenever I lived in Qatar was how, like, what is the word, emasculated men are in America. Like, I was talking to a Qatari friend, and basically Qatari is somebody that's from the original Qatar tribe. They're set for life. If you're Qatari, you're set. But anyways, he was telling me, he's like, and I'm not going to even attempt to do his accent, but he was like, my friend, why in America is this red pill thing and all this, like, just being a man, like, why is that such a big idea to you Americans? I don't understand, like, what happened, blah, 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 blah. Like, to him, it's completely normal to have a wife and raise a big family. The man is like the leader of the household, and they have land and they build a legacy. And something that really struck me was I was going down the street, and you see this all over in Qatar. You'll literally see an ad, and it's a strong father looking over the land, and he's got his son next to him. Or you'll see a mother taking care of her kids, and they're all looking up at her smiling. Or you'll see a man walking, holding his wife's hand, holding a child right here. The wife's got a child right there. And then comparing that to the ads that you see in America, it's like blue-haired and like just all these crazy things. And I don't really have any point outside of it. It just blew my mind. Like, even this is another example. When you're going to the airport in Qatar, in Doha, the city of Doha, there's these sculptures that basically show the different stages of birth. So from like this, it starts getting bigger, 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 then it's a baby. And I was like, it made me laugh with how, I mean, there's so many different things we could talk about for hours about what's happened in America, but like abroad, especially in the Middle East, especially in South America, it's just expected for you to be a man, to take care of what you've got to do, take care of the family, be responsible, raise the family, do all these different things. It's not perfect by any means, but I don't know what happened to America. I mean, do you have any wisdom on that? I mean, you're way more wise when it comes to that than I am. Do you have any wisdom on that, George?
Yeah, it's funny. One of the things that I teach when I teach guys in the men's development arena and the red pill world, I say, look for a woman that wants to build. Stop just looking at, boobs and ass and sexiness. Look for a woman that wants to build. And I remember Christina saying to me, build what? Cabinets? Or I'll never. And when I look at you, Dylan, you're not pimping out your woman.
Right.
You are building something with her. Mm-hmm. And the idea of vetting a woman for her ability and propensity to want to build is important. And we don't see that. We look for the quick fixes, and it might not be the 8s, 9s, and 10s, as they say in the United States, that are the most ideal women. What's a great woman is a woman that wants to build. And who cares about if she's an 8, 9, or 10?
Right. Yeah, I mean, for me, I've experienced both sides of the fence. And for me, I finally just realized, like, I'm a man of ambition. I've got all these different things I want to achieve. And maybe if I was going down a certain line, maybe taking the other route would be more beneficial. But for me, I looked at the way the world was going, and I also looked where I was going. And I've experienced doing all the stupid stuff. Stupid to me, not stupid to other people, just for me personally. And it took so much of my focus and so much of my energy away. And example, the girl that I'm with now, we've been talking since, before I even really got on the path. We were talking for a while. We didn't start dating properly until 2019. We met in the country of Georgia for the first time. And by this point, we'd kind of known each other. And I started realizing I was for the month that we were together in Georgia, I got so much work done because I would wake up, my coffee would be made, breakfast would be made, I would be working, lunch would just appear. I never had to do laundry, never had to clean, never had to do anything. She would ask me about my day. I would tell her about it. She's got women have this, it's like a sixth sense about certain people, certain things. And I would hear that. I guess wisdom would be the right word. I don't know. But I would hear that and be like, wow, I thought that you were just didn't want me to talk to this person. But 3 to 6 months later, what you said was going to happen actually happened. Huh. So she's almost like an energy gauge for me. If I'm around anybody, she's like, yeah, Dylan, be careful what you say around this person. I don't trust it. Back in the day, I was, you don't know what you're talking about. But now I'm like, oh, okay, I'm going to listen to what she said when it comes to that. And for me to get to where I want to be, 1, I need to have absolute focus. But then 2, I also want to have a family. Growing up with my dad, he divorced family, blah, blah, blah. Always working. That was part of why I wanted to be in control of my own fate, my own destiny. Was my dad would sometimes be gone for a year at a time, and I would be raised by my stepmom. And I saw just the roles were weird. He would be working his butt off all the time and come home and do the laundry, do the dishes. I was like, something's not right here. She doesn't work, but you're sitting here having to do all this. You just got home. So that's what kind of got me down finding the answers. And the answer for me personally, what I want out of life is, one, I want to be very successful, but two, I want to have a girl that I can actually build with. Like my girl's very attractive, which is a plus, but also she's intelligent. And she, since the beginning, back whenever I was still building niche websites, trying to figure out how to make money online, I could ask her to do anything and she would do it. And that's a powerful asset. And for men, I know this is kind of going off on a tangent. I hope I'm not wasting any time, but like,
No,
men
not
need
at
to
all.
stop seeing, men need to stop seeing women as like just, I'm not going to cuss, but a piece of something. They need to see them instead as like an actual asset that they can build. And that is actually something the organization we're a part of helped me understand, was seeing it more from an asset standpoint. And I was like, wow, that makes so much more sense. Instead of it just being the other thing, I can actually have somebody that's intelligent, that's on the same path as I am, and it's an asset, and it's not just this liability. Oh, yeah, it's time wasting. No, I can build. And if you find a good girl, and you have to find them, but then you also have to build them and craft them. It can't just be, oh yeah, I finally found a good girl. No, it's you're improving. They also need to improve. And by you stepping into that leadership standpoint or that position, you're going to be able to grow an actual family at some point. Like I'm not in the position where I want to have kids yet, but in the coming years, I definitely will. And I already have a girl that right now we're building and building and building. And she's also going to be a great mother at some point whenever we decide to go down that route. And I think a lot of men out there, they get pulled into almost like a trance that they feel guilty if they don't want this lifestyle. They want this lifestyle instead. And this is something I'm trying to push to people all the time, is stop trying to be something you're not. If it's in your nature, you'll do it and it'll probably happen effortlessly, but stop trying to force yourself to be something you're not. Instead, just own who you are. And for me personally, I want to have a girl that's an actual asset that I can build with, that I can focus. If I tell her, hey, I need to go to Dubai for the next week, meeting up with a client, I can know for a fact that she's going to stay here, hold the house down. She helps me with client work. She's going to help maintain the communication between me and the clients. She also helps us with some other things for my personal brand, and I can trust her. On the other hand, if I just had all these random people, I couldn't really depend on that. Yeah, I could hire it out and all that, but it's not the same as having a girl that loves you, adores you, and is also an actress. She's been weaponized to actually help the mission. And by you being a man and man of ambition and all that type of stuff, if you find a good girl and you properly build her and cultivate that relationship, I mean, very few things can stop you. Like, you're not going to have any weak points. You're not going to really have anything like that. And you can also focus on what needs to be done. So like every morning I wake up, coffee is sitting on this desk. I've got a glass of water waiting for me. I open my laptop, I get my work done. About an hour or two later, breakfast is made, like some eggs, tuna, if I'm hungry. I'd never have to touch laundry, never have to worry about cleaning. I never have to worry about a bunch of different things that most of the time I would have to worry about. And that is not only that, but a bunch of other things. There's why, if you are not naturally this other type of guy, and you're more the type of guy that you're like, I mean, I just don't really want that lifestyle. It's fine. You need to find what version of success you want. And that's going to give you so much more power instead of you being some inauthentic, fake person just because everybody else is doing it. You think you need to do it. No, find what you want, own that, step into that, and your life is just going to continuously get better.
Yeah. Talk about some case studies. Now, when you were talking with Life Math Money, he mentioned a guy that's writing erotica, making $100K a month.
Yeah.
Like, I'm just like mind blown. Tell us about some case studies of people that you have worked with, Dylan, that are crushing it.
From a client perspective or student perspective?
Either way, whatever you want.
Either way. So one of my favorite, well, I'm not going to say he's my favorite student. He's one of my favorite students. I've got many favorite students, but one of the students that really stood out to me the most, that it makes me smile, was I had this 21, 22-year-old kid that reached out to me whenever I was in Brazil. And he's like, hey, man, I know that you probably get this all the time. This is on Twitter. He's like, I know you probably get this all the time. I'm a graphic designer. I want to make money online. I don't know what to do. I've only got like $75 to my name. Can I buy your course? Blah, 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 blah. And I was like, before you buy my course, because I don't want you to use the last bit of your money, do this, this, and this. And he did it. And then I paid him. And I was like, did you see how easy that was? He was like, yeah, I just came and reached out to you and I did some work for you and I got paid. I was like, yes, now you can replicate that with other people and use the money I paid you. Now you can buy my course. And he bought the course and then he started applying it. And as he applied it, he wouldn't come and ask, like, Dylan, I can't figure out what a skill is. I talked about it. He didn't come back and ask me silly questions. He would only ask me a question if he kept hitting a barrier and he couldn't figure it out on his own. And he did that over the course of a few months. Make a long story short, he is essentially making more than, I'm not going to say a politician because in Brazil they're quite corrupt, but he's making more than lawyers and doctors and all of that in his country. The last I checked, he's around 25 to 30K a month, all from sending out a DM to me, asking for help, but not just asking for help, trying to take. He was asking for help and like telling me what he was actually doing. And he applied himself and now he's killing it. He's making a ton of money, especially for his age. His mom's taken care of, his family's taken care of, and he's loving life in Brazil. He's traveling all the time. And he ended up evolving from just a graphic designer. He got into Twitter ghostwriting. So it wasn't the same skill. But for me personally, that's one of my favorite stories because his energy reminded me of me back in like 2014, 2015, 2016. I was like, anything and everything I could do to help somebody that like I wanted to learn from, I would find. And he would always reach out to me and make new graphics for me, or he would make this for me, or he'd write a couple tweets for me that I wouldn't use most of the time. They weren't the best, but it was still the initiative that he took every single day. He would try to find something to do. And I ended up hiring, and we're not working together on that project anymore, but I ended up hiring this student, and he worked with me for a while, and then he went on and did the Twitter ghostwriting thing. So for me personally, that's one of my favorite stories, was just some young kid, had really no idea what to do, but he just took the initiative. And I think for anybody that's listening to this, they should really pay attention to that. If you just take the initiative and put yourself out there, magical things will happen. If you sit there and you just hope and pray that something changes, well, it's probably not. It just probably won't happen. But if you hope and pray, but then you actually take the initiative, you're going to crush it, and regardless of what you do. So that's one of my favorite. One of my client testimonials, obviously can't throw out their name, and this was a mind-blowing moment for me. We had to launch a new product. It was a last-minute idea, and I was sitting there for hours writing this, like trying to write a sales copy for a ClickFunnels page. Before this point, I had done like sales pages for WordPress, blogs, that type of stuff. I had never used ClickFunnels. They're like, don't worry about it, Dylan. Just connect it to the Stripe, do this. To make a long story short, we had a headline, a video, and a buy button. That was it. And I was convinced. I was like, oh my gosh, this client's probably not going to want to work with me anymore. This whole project's going to go under. We need to have this long sales page. We need to have all this other stuff, blah, 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 blah. And I stayed up all night writing a ClickFunnels page, trying to figure it out, watching YouTube videos, learning it, all that type of stuff. And to make a long story short, we went with the page that he wanted, which was just headline, video, buy button. That was it. And we ended up doing, it's like 50 or 60K pounds, Great British pounds, within one day. And that forever blew my mind and made me realize from a client perspective, if you have the social proof, I know we talked about that earlier, if you have the social proof and you tell the story and you, I guess, allow the emails to do a lot of the heavy lifting, so sharing the story, sharing the value, and then leading into the benefits, and like as Shane Hunter would say, segueing into the offer, you can literally have a sales page that has a headline, video, a buy button, and crush it. You don't need to have some super detailed and long sales page. It helps, sure, but that for me was one of my first, like, I guess, big wins. I'd had many wins before that, like working with Ed Lattimore, working with Victor Pride, working with Certovich. If you hear that, I promise it's not gunshots, it's fireworks. And for me, that was like a major win from an email copywriting standpoint, because I was just like, this is going to bomb. This is going to bomb. Oh my God. Oh God, please. Blah, blah. And then we crushed it. So, I mean, from a student to a client perspective, those are two of my favorite moments from a case study standpoint.
That's great. I turned Christina on to Alex Hormozy, and who of course is the master of offers. Mm-hmm. Talk to us about writing the offer.
Writing the offer as in, like, what standpoint are you coming from? Like, I'm trying to figure out the offer, or yeah,
like when you have a product, how do you offer it? How do you write about it? How do you get people? How do you walk people through the process where they hit the buy button?
Mm-hmm. So when it comes to that, like my approach to it is doing a lot of the heavy lifting on social media and then email. I am decent at writing sales copy, obviously, like from a sales page perspective, but a lot of what I do from getting people from unaware to actually being aware and buying is I focus on telling the story, showing the picture, showing the videos. So once again, social proof, showing that, and it makes it believable to them. That's number one. That's one of the keys. It needs to be inspiring, but it also needs to be believable that they can actually achieve that. And you would achieve that by showing the pictures, you tell your stories, and you do all that. And by the time they get to the sales page, once you have like testimonials and all that, that definitely helps. So once you have like 2, 5, 6, 7, 8 testimonials, definitely put that on the sales page. But if you're just getting started, your story and then sharing the little tidbits of information. So let's say you put together a fitness product. If you talk about like your mindset with doing XYZ workout or your mindset with XYZ diet and why you should eat this type of way, that in and of itself is already beginning to open their mind and push them and prime them to buying your product. So you could have a less than optimal sales page, but if you take advantage of sharing your story and you're sharing the value, people are going to buy it regardless. But you can also increase the conversion rate by having a proper sales page. So if you have all those different variables, that's how you're going to get the outcome you want, which is selling that product. But at the same time, a lot of people put way more energy into trying to have this perfect sales page, perfect pitch, perfect this. And if you test, and this is a key, obviously Hormozi, way more successful than I am. Read his book. I haven't, but definitely read his book. I've watched some of his videos. He seems like an awesome guy. Test your offer. So something I used to do is I would ask people on Twitter or on my email list, and now I'm getting more into Instagram, but from what I've actually done, it was Twitter, my email list. I would ask them, what type of problems are you having? Or what type of barriers are you hitting? Or when it comes to freelancing, what are you struggling with? And a lot of people kept telling me, I don't know what to do. I don't know what skill I want. I see you talk about email copywriting. So I was like, okay, I'm going to make an email copywriting course. And so I put together a course on how to build up an email list and then how you can package that into a service. And I didn't just decide like, oh, I think this would be a good idea. I tested and I asked my audience what they wanted. I didn't just assume that's what they wanted. I asked them, and that's what a lot of people kept telling me was, I just want to do whatever you're doing. I want to get into email copywriting. I want to have an email list, blah, 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 blah. So for you, when it comes to having your offer, what I would really like you to do is actually ask your audience. Or you can even see, let's say you don't have a massive audience. Let's say you only got 1,000, 2,000 followers. Look at what people are engaging with the most. So how many, like if this topic gets a lot of retweets, or this topic gets a lot of hearts or favorites, whatever it's called, people probably want to know a little bit more about that. So you can turn that into a lead magnet. And if that lead magnet is semi-popular, then boom, now you can make a paid product on that lead magnet. So you funnel people into that lead magnet from your Twitter, and then you can upsell them through email to getting your paid course. And so it's really about, this is something that's been a game changer for me from a client perspective, but then also for my own brand. So that's always been my main focus. Is I had to kind of take a detour into freelancing, but I've always wanted to have my own brand. Is stop assuming that people want this, or this, and just ask them or look at the data and see what people are actually engaging with, what people actually want. Otherwise, you're going to put a product together and it's not going to sell anything. Maybe you'll have a few diehard supporters that buy it, but then you're, oh, yeah, this isn't for me. Okay, I'm going to keep working a regular job. On the other hand, if you just say, hey guys, out of these topics, what are some of the things you're interested in? Or what barriers are you hitting with your fitness? Or, okay, I'm looking over my analytics and a lot of people are engaging with this type of tweet. Boom, there's a product idea. And you've got pretty much proven that people are interested in that. So more than likely they're willing to pay. And if you still don't want to immediately launch into a paid product, that's when you can have a lead magnet with, hey guys, a lot of you have been saying this, this, and this. So I've put together this free video series or this PDF that's going to break down XYZ. If you want it, click here and you can download it. And you could use something like Gumroad as an example. Gumroad, you can upload the product like that. You can have an email list on it. I still recommend you have your like own email list off that. So whether it's Aweber or ConvertKit, but just to keep it simple, you can use Gumroad.com. You can upload your PDF or your video series there. And then you can also directly email the people that get on your lead magnet or even buy one of your products to sell them other stuff or to tell them about certain pieces of content. And that right there is going to be, go ahead.
I was going to ask you, so a lead magnet, yep. I used to read it lead magnet. I didn't know what it was. So that's like a free product in order to get them to see what your knowledge is and base your credibility. And then, yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So the lead magnet is really just to show like, here's what the issue is, or here's what they're looking for. And so you show them it needs to be as tangible as possible. Like a lot of people think because it's free, oh, I don't need to put any value into it. Well, if you don't do that, then why are they going to pay for your paid product? Probably not. So it needs to have some type of tangible result. So for you, it could be something tangible like diet, or it could be something with their fitness or whatever. Like if you give me more specifics, like on air, off air, I can actually help you put together a lead magnet just to help you because I like your story. But as tangible as possible, like as an example, I've got this one lead magnet, this 10 steps to becoming a freelancer. And in that, I talk about picking your skill. I talk about how to DM people. I talk about all these different things. And if you apply that without buying my paid product, you can apply that and get results. Because they get results, they're like, wow, if this is that good, I wonder what his other products are like that I can pay for. And of course, they're even better. So whenever you're making a lead magnet, you need to make it not just filler information. It needs to be something tangible, but built around a specific outcome that your audience is already looking for. So once again, just to reiterate, since you're taking the notes, you can test this off of what types of tweets are really hitting with your audience. So what gets the most retweets? You can directly ask them, whether it's via video or you just tweet it out, or you can email it out. I recommend you start an email list ASAP and just ask people what types of barriers are you hitting with your fitness. Oh, well, I don't really understand like the count calories thing. And I've been trying to lose weight for the past 10 years. Nothing's really happening. And a lot of people talk about that. There's a lead magnet for you. And then from there, you can upsell them to a coaching, or you can upsell them to another paid product, like an info product. And you have untapped potential right there, right? Just from doing that. And what's going to separate you from everybody else is doing the most trendy thing, or they're doing what they assume is good. But you have an actual audience you actually help. You ask them what type of issues they're having, and you solve it. And now they're going to get more value from you, so they're going to buy your next product. They're going to keep supporting you, and you're going to change their life. Boom, social proof.
So
go ahead.
The email, sorry, the email was like, are you buying like your own website type of thing? When you're directing them, what is it, a website?
Yeah, so for simplicity, I recommend aweber.com. That's basically, you're just going to set up your email list there. For me, I prefer ConvertKit, but from a simplicity standpoint, Aweber is perfect for you. And essentially, you're going to make a sign-up form on Aweber, and you can make your own website if you want, but you could also just set up a link on Aweber and send people directly to sign up to your newsletter. And then from there, you can email them directly. So just to give you some more notes, and if you have any questions after this, just hit me up. But I would recommend building a welcome sequence for your email list, even if it's just 1 or 2 emails. The first email could say something along the lines of, hey, thank you for signing up. Here's XYZ book or XYZ video series. And boom, you give them that. And then the second email could maybe be where to find you on Instagram or something like that. And then from there, start reaching out to them, like emailing them. 3 times a week is adequate. You can do daily emails if you want, but a lot of people overthink that. It's super simple, but if you just 2 to 3 times a week, that's perfect. And then from there, you've got your email list covered. You could also just use Gumroad.com. So once you upload your lead magnet to Gumroad, every single time somebody downloads your lead magnet, they take the email, and then you can email them directly from Gumroad. But I think it's because a lot of the OGs taught me you have to own your own list. For me, mentally, I just like having ConvertKit instead of it just being all on Gumroad. So I still have my own email list off of Gumroad. that I email. But that leads me to another thing, which isn't going to apply to you right now, but later down the road, you'll have your main email list, but then you'll have the different lead magnets, you'll have the different info products, maybe your coaching that people have purchased, and you can create special offers for that list. So you can have a special offer for the people. Okay, you went through this lead magnet. Now you can check out this product for X% off, or because you got this, now you can get this. This is the next step on the journey, blah, 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 blah. You'll make it sound way better than that. But for you now, I know I'm talking a lot. For you now, Gumroad.com for lead magnet, and then Aweber for your actual newsletter. And that would be your direct next steps that you need to work to focus on.
Okay.
Now, there's a couple things that you mentioned, and I recognize the terms. You had said a conversion rate. You mentioned a conversion rate. Explain what conversion rate is to Christina and the audience that's watching.
Okay, so I'm not super techie and all that. The way I see it, and I've got friends of mine who super get into it. For me, I look at how many people do I have to get to click this email to lead directly to a purchase, or you can simplify it even more. On Gumroad, as an example, you can see how many people went to see your product or your lead magnet, whatever it is, before they downloaded or purchased it. So what you're trying to do from a conversion rate standpoint is at some point, and this is a game changer for me, is okay, if I get 300 people a day, I'm going to make $800. That, for me, it shows me, okay, as long as I just focus on getting, and I don't know if you know Jose Rosado, he's kind of the guy that told me that. He's like, Dylan, just focus on getting 200 people to your Gumroad every single day. It'll be a game changer. And I was like, oh, okay, easy enough. And I was like, wow, if I can get 200 or 300 people a day to check out my products, I have a pretty good sales day. And then I started looking at my other clients, and I was like, wow, they have way bigger audiences than I do, but okay, so it took he got 2,000 page views today, and we did close to around 13 grand. Oh, okay. So how can I get more people to click that link and check out the products? Okay, now we're going to start writing more tweets, or maybe we'll send out an extra email. So to simplify conversion rate for me, and maybe there's other people that have different definitions, it's to figure out how many page views it takes for you to get people to check your product out to lead directly to a sell. That's really as simple as I could make it. And once you start figuring that out, everything becomes way easier, because instead of you hoping that today's a good sales day, all you have to focus on is putting out more content and then also getting more people to click your link. It's really that simple.
Yeah, Jose Rosado is one of my coaches.
So, really?
Yeah.
He's awesome.
He was a guy that a year ago, I've been telling this story, how I have a product, and he wanted me to write an offer. And he said, when do you think you'll get it done? This was at the end of July last year. And I was thinking, with everything that's going on in my life and such, I'm like, October 1st, I can probably have it done and whatever. Mm-hmm. So that would be August and September, 2 months. And he said to me, he says, you have 2 weeks to get it done, or I will no longer be your coach. He says, it's not about the money, George. You need to be accountable. You need to create a deadline. You've got 2 weeks to get it done, or I will not talk to you anymore.
Wow. That's powerful.
Yeah. And I got it done, obviously. I mean, I got it done within a week, but it was, it put me into Jedi mode, so to speak. Mm-hmm. Here's a question. All right. Right now on YouTube, Christina, what do you have? About 300 people, something like that. How can she get to 1,000?
Okay. So that's a good question. For the longest time, I would post content randomly, because I was focused more so on Twitter and blogging. But then I think I'm on 3,000 subscribers now. And the way I went from just casually growing it, I think I was at 400 or 500 subscribers to now 3,000 within the past couple months, 4 or 5 months maybe.
Yeah, all I started you're blowing up. You're blowing up right now. Yeah.
Yeah, I started focusing on one, what are other people doing that's working? So seeing their thumbnails, seeing how they do titles. And then I also look into the keywords, and I don't get super into this, but I literally just think about, like, if I was searching for this video, what would I be typing? And then you can also go to the search bar on YouTube and type that in. And I'm sure there's some high level, because you're like the OG of YouTube compared to me. I'm sure you have some other high level thing, but that's what I do to find keywords. And so I'm seeing what people are obviously looking for from a thumbnail standpoint, from a title standpoint. And then also, and this is something that's been a game changer for me, is making long form content, but then creating micro content out of that. So as an example of the video you watched, the 10K Masterclass, I turned that into a bunch of different clips. So like, I think it was 45 minute training. I found like, okay, where I said this could be some topic. Let me turn that into a 1 minute video, a 5 minute video, 8 minute video. And before I knew it, I had like a handful of different videos. And then I took those videos and I turned them into YouTube shorts. And then from there, and this is something I just recently started doing, I've been writing community posts. So for you, you could take maybe a meme or something and post it to your community tab. It's on the community tab. Or you could take one of your threads from Twitter, copy paste that, boom, send people to your newsletter, send people to your product or whatever. And one, supposedly YouTube really likes the community thing, like the community posts, but then you're taking YouTube traffic and sending it to your newsletter. And from growing your YouTube like directly, I would recommend recording every single week, make like one video that's like a long form video, and then you can turn that into micro content. So like, let's say you have a 20-minute video, I'm sure you could turn that into 2 or 3 videos, and then you can turn those videos into shorts. So I would aim to post 2 to 3 shorts a day. And from there, I'd also recommend having like one main video every single week. And like, you can't really see, I was really looking forward to this, George. That's why I was like, give me 2 more minutes and then I'll be on. I actually am building a studio finally. I've got red lights right here. I've got an awesome background. I don't think you can really tell. But also upgrade your studio as you can. Like, just think about the aesthetic standpoint. That's something I lagged in for a while. And that's something as of today, I finally fixed, is I like want my video quality to be good. So yeah, if you focus on having a good experience, so good quality webcam, I've got I don't even know what this is, a Logitech 1080 HD, a decent quality webcam, a little bit like decent lighting. Like I've got a ring light right here, a good microphone for good audio, and then see what other people are doing that's working. And then from there, all you've got to do is figure out ways, because for me, something that held me back for a long time. So I was like, man, I'm working with clients. I'm doing my Twitter. Now I'm trying to grow Instagram. I don't have time to make videos on YouTube. And then I was like, why don't? And it happened at that 10K Masterclass. I had all these people telling me like, oh my God, Dylan, when you said this, it really stood out to me. And I was like, it's a video right there from that 45-minute video. Let me clip that. And I paid somebody on my team. I was like, hey, start clipping this. Every big video I put out, start clipping it. And then he's like, oh, actually, I saw this other YouTuber and he's turning those into shorts also. I was like, okay, let's start making shorts. So I started posting 2 to 3 shorts a day, sometimes even more. I think we're doing 5 a day now, and finding different ways you can repurpose any content that you do, which leads me to video ideas. As you're putting out your threads, as you're putting out your tweets or your IG posts, whatever, you can turn those into video topics and get on a camera. Don't overthink it. You can talk for 2 minutes, 5 minutes, 20 minutes, 40 minutes, whatever. Now you've got a video. So you're not having to constantly think of, okay, I need to make content for Instagram. Now I need to think about ideas for Twitter. Now I need to think about ideas for YouTube. Everything's working together. It's just different formats of how you're presenting the content. So if I get a tweet of mine that does very well, that's how I got the idea for the 10K Masterclass video. I just ended up going like super big into it. I was only planning on making it like a 10-minute video, but then a guy that works for me, he's like, bro, we should turn this into a presentation. I was like, no, let's do it. Let's put together a presentation from a thread that I wrote. Let's turn that into an actual like Canva presentation, and I'll record it. And boom, people loved it. So take things from your Twitter, so your thread, or if you post some tweet and it gets a lot of engagement. So for you in the beginning, even if it gets 2 retweets or 3 retweets, that's still awesome. That means that people are really engaging with that content. So you can now turn that into a video, or you can turn that into a short. But for you right now, I would recommend seeing what people are engaging with on your Twitter, making it a long form video, 5, 10, 20 minutes, and then seeing how you can repurpose that into shorter videos. So like YouTube Shorts and things like that. If you want to, you can hire somebody. Like I paid this one guy $5 for every short. I think we're doing 5 a day. I know for a while we're doing 2 to 3 a day. So $5 per short. It's so easy for him. Literally just clips it. But I can also show you how to do it yourself. Super easy. And that's going to allow you to grow. I'm not going to say super quick, but it'll allow you to grow on YouTube because they really like seeing shorts. They really like the long form videos, the clips, and then also the community posts.
I was going to ask you about that because like I saw the full blown podcast with Life Math Money, and then suddenly I started seeing the suggested, like really the shorter versions, the clips. Yep. And then I noticed like the past few days I've seen like your shorts are blowing up, like lots of shorts. And I was going to ask you about like, what have you seen since you've been posting all those shorts? Has it been a positive flow of people since you've been doing that, or is it turning people off?
So that was something I was worried about in the beginning. I was just like, hey, no, Colson, let's keep it a one a day. That's adequate. And he's like, no, I've been seeing other people are saying posting 3 times a day, even more than that, even 8 times a day, blah, 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 blah. So I was like, okay, let's test it. And like I said, I think we're at 5 a day. I know for a while we were doing 3, and the response has been great. Like people were all of a sudden, my notifications in my inbox are like, oh my God, great video. Oh, this really stood out to me. Oh, so it's a positive impact. And some of the videos I'll post and it'll get like 10 views in a day. And then a couple of days later, it's got like 3,000 views. That happened to a video I posted to the shorts the other day. Had like 10, 20, 50 views. I was like, oh man, I don't know about the shorts thing. And then Colson hit me up this morning, no, yesterday. So, oh my God, bro, check this out. And he sent a screenshot. It was like 3,000 views, which is awesome. So yeah, it's been a positive response. As long as it's valuable content, which I know your content will be, people are going to love it. So give them as much of it as you can. Obviously, maybe if I was posting 50 a day, both of you would be like, okay, I can't talk to Dylan anymore. But I'm going to keep it reasonable. Like 3 a day, 5 a day, that's perfect. And even in your case, even if it was 1 or 2 a day, that's fine.
Okay.
You are the master of repurposing content. It's if anyone needs to watch how to repurpose content, I would direct you to Dylan Madden. Like Christina said, you know, the one interview you did with Life Math Money, I cannot believe how many clips and shorts you got out of that are pure gold. Things that I kind of missed when I watched the whole thing, the long form. You definitely are the master of repurposing. I like to think that 1,000 subscribers, things really begin at 1,000. That's the big hump that people have to get over. Initially in the beginning, it's almost like discouraging that you can't, like when you can't get to 1,000, you keep thinking, and I know Christina, you've been through this. You start doubting yourself. You're like, well, no one's responding to my tweets. Nobody liked the last video that I did, that kind of thing. Dylan, can you address that for her?
Yes, I've definitely been in that exact position. And 1, you need to stop worrying about it. And then 2, and this is something that really helped me, was I was like, okay, why are people not really engaging with it? Is there something like, I'm the bad guy. It's maybe I'm just not putting out content that people really resonate with. So that's why earlier I said, see what is working for other people and ask yourself, why is that working? So on YouTube, I started seeing that a lot of the people I was watching, they were getting more into long form presentation style videos. They have way more views than I do. So I was like, you know what, I'm going to do it. So for you, figure out like what is already working for content that you consume and then emulate that. And over time, as you start testing different things, the views are going to consistently go up. Like, keep in mind, I've been online since like 2014, and it's just now that, like, as an example, he's been watching me from behind the scenes, and now he's like blessed me with being able to get on this show. So you will have to be consistent. Like, I'm not saying if you just see what's working for other people, magically everything's going to change. You just have to make a decision in your own mind that this is my mission. This is what I want to help people with. And from a selfish standpoint, I want to make a living from it. And as long as you keep it genuine with I'm actually helping people, then you're perfectly fine. And then don't get emotional about it. That was something I used to take it personal. Like if I posted a tweet or posted a video or posted an article and got like no engagement, I would think oh man, maybe I did something wrong. No, it's not like that. It's what you put out. Obviously, people didn't really resonate with, and maybe they will resonate with it at some point. Like earlier, I said I posted a video, got like 10 to 20 views, and then a couple days later or a day later, it got over 3,000. Maybe it was the timing of when I posted it. So there's all these different variables that kind of can control, but you can't really. So being as outcome independent as possible is something that's helped me a lot. Is I just focus on the process of creating content, seeing what's working for other people, asking myself why it's working for other people, and constantly like figuring out how I can actually provide tangible value, like tangible, as tangible as possible for the other person. So like as an example, whenever you're telling your story, as long as it has some kind of tangible like ending, so like something you learned, that content's valuable. Maybe not many people engage with it right now. Like I think this is my second YouTube channel. The first one I posted some mindset video. I think it was the solution mindset video. And for whatever reason, they said I was promoting violence and they cut the channel. And I literally mentioned nothing of violence. It was basically just being solution oriented with everything. So I was like, yeah, YouTube, whatever. I'm going to focus on other stuff. But then I finally decided, people keep telling me, and you could argue it was God speaking for other people. Dylan, you've got a great voice. Dylan, you're great on video. Dylan, you've got a radio voice. Dylan, this, Dylan, that. I was like, okay, fine. I'll start doing the whole YouTube thing. And I started posting content. And once you make that commitment to yourself, you don't really care as much about not getting engagement. Like stop thinking about the numbers and all this other stuff, because it really doesn't matter until you have a proper audience. Right now, it's just telling your story, sharing value. And then as you get your two subscribers, your 3 likes, your whatever, that's your tribe, and start figuring out what they really vibe with and keep creating that content. And then the momentum will keep growing. Before you know it, you're going to be at George's numbers and all that. Like, it's going to be next level for you. But that's by you just sitting back there and detaching yourself and sticking to the process. Like, once again, I've been creating content since 2014. Like a lot of people think that I just magically came out of nowhere. I've literally started with my own blog, then I had some niche websites, and then I got into Twitter around 2018, it was like 2016, I think, but then properly around 2018, 2019. And now on my 3rd or 4th Twitter account, here we are. I'm at like 25,000 followers. So it didn't happen overnight, and it won't happen overnight for you. But as long as you just consistently do it, there's no reality where you're not going to be at that level that you want to be at if you just keep showing up every day and getting better. And once I accepted that, like the anxiety, the worry, all that just went out the door. And then as you get your first hit of success, your second win of success, boom, 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 you don't even think about it. You're like, oh, yeah, that video didn't really do too well. I'll post another one. Oh, wow, that one got good engagement. Let me create a video kind of similar to that. Oh, wow, that one got great engagement too. And you'll just keep going.
Yeah, I had a friend tell me once that life changes at $250K a year, which is, about $20K a month. And is that possible for her? Is it possible for her to make $20K a month?
It's definitely possible. I mean, keep in mind, my dad told me the best thing I was ever going to have is an entry-level job, because I didn't go to college. I didn't do any of the stuff. I was picking up, this was 2017, 2018, 2019. Changing trash cans, cleaning bathrooms. I was doing things on Craigslist, trying to flip products on Craigslist. And I was like obsessed with figuring out how to make money online. And he said, Dylan, the best thing that's ever going to happen to you is you're going to have an entry-level job. You're going to be in your 30s. You'll be a loser, blah, 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 blah. And I basically made a promise with him. I was like, Dad, listen, if I don't figure this out in the next 2 years, I will go to college. I'll get a corporate career. I don't care. If I don't complete it in 2 years, boom. You won, I lost, end of it. And to make a long story short, I don't like losing. So I kept applying myself. And that I ended up landing the internship with Victor Pride. And then Ed Lattimore blessed me with helping me with one of his books, the Sober Letters to My Sober Self. What was it? You know what I'm talking about, George.
Yeah, I do.
One of his
books.
Yeah. I helped him with that. And yeah, I mean, I'm doing, just from like my clients and from my personal brand standpoint, I'm doing about 50 grand a month right now. And if you would have told me back in those days that I would be at that, No, there's no way. Maybe you'll get to like 5 or 10K at some point, but you can totally be at 20K. It just comes down to you making it as realistic as possible. So something that helped me a lot was breaking it down into simple math. Like, how many clients does it take paying X amount a month to get to this level? For you, since you're going to start the fitness thing, how many products do I need to sell at this price to get to X, Y, Z income? And don't start out at 10K a month, 20K a month, 30K a month. Start out at something realistic, $1,000 a month, $1,000 a month. Whenever I finally hit that, it's like, oh my gosh, this is crazy. Whenever I made my first $49 as an affiliate sell, it blew my mind. So you need to make it realistic. Don't be hard on yourself. Be like, I need to be making 10K a month because that's what everybody on Twitter and everybody on YouTube says. Don't worry about that. At some point, you'll get to 20K a month, 10K a month, etc. If you just break it down into simple math and you're like, okay, my goal right now is, you can even break it down even smaller, 500 a month. Once you get to there, you'll figure out like, okay, here's how many sales I need to do that. And then you'll continue posting content, and then you'll grow and grow and grow. And before you know it, you'll be making 20K a month. I didn't realize how much money I was making actually until a couple months ago, whenever I was adding up different accounts and stuff, because I'm trying to get a bank account set up here in Paraguay. I was like, wow, I didn't realize I was making that much. That's actually pretty awesome. But you'll get to that point and you'll probably not even realize you're making 20K a month. You'll just be, wow, that's crazy. That's inspiring. But it starts with breaking it down into simple math. Like for me, I need to believe it for it to be possible. I'm sure it's the same way with you. So literally today, tonight, whatever time it is, write down on a piece of paper, like, okay, my goal is to make $1,000 a month. How many products at 25 or 35 do I need to sell to hit that? And then once you have that, then you have to put together the products. Then you have to tell your story and all that type of stuff. But don't put the product together yet. Start building the audience and figure out what people actually want. And then, boom, you can make your product. And before you know it, you'll be making 20K a month.
Right. I was watching one blog on fitness, and it was saying, like, you can't make the product until you know who your clients are, and you have to build that first to see. And they were saying they usually kind of emulate you, like they have the similar story. That's who you usually attract. But yeah, they were saying you can't make a product or a course if you don't even know who you're talking to yet. So to build the client.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, it's easy to assume that you know what people want, but maybe you want that type of product. I don't know, but like, it's cool. Maybe people will buy it, but you actually want to. If you actually want to sell it, you need to find what people actually want. Victor Pride said New World Ronin something about the moment that he finally started making money was when he stopped thinking about how he could get rich and started thinking about how he could help other people. Like, what do other people want? And that's been very true for me. It's been very true for students of mine, associates of mine. Like, stop thinking about what do I think is a good idea, and see what do other people want, and how can I, using my skills, my experience, my stories, how can I provide that solution to them to fill that gap? So for you, if you focus on building your audience right now and you start figuring out, okay, a lot of people seem to really like this idea, they really like this, I really like this. At some point, whenever you decide to, you can sit down and make a product about that. And people, it's not assuming, it's people are obviously interested in this because they keep retweeting, they keep commenting, they keep asking questions about X, Y, Z. So obviously they're interested in it, and you're the go-to person because you're every day you're showing up, you're posting videos, you're writing emails, you're writing tweets, you're writing threads about that, and you're attracting those people to you. And then boom, you come out with a solution, and now they're happy customers.
Well, this has been great. I can't believe we're going to be pushing 2 hours here. The time went by just like that, and there's just so much content that was shared tonight. But we will end it with the audience wanting more. That's how we'll do it. So, Christina, any last questions for Dylan?
Well, I just want to say how much I appreciate you doing this, because I know you're busy and you're charging money for all this that you're doing on here. So, like, I really want to just let you know I appreciate you doing this. And I know George kind of threw it out there at the last second, so.
Yeah, it's funny. I literally sat down for I think I took like a 30-minute nap because I've been going since early this morning. And I woke up and I looked over at my phone. I was like, oh, snap, you texted me. Okay, we're going to be doing filming. Can we rearrange that? Yeah, let's push it to 9. Yeah, I can do it. So I'm glad to be here. I'm glad to be able to help you. And if I can help you at all outside of this, feel free to reach out to me. Like if you want more clarification on anything I've mentioned, if you want more clarification on email stuff, Twitter stuff, just let me know. And if I can retweet you, just let me know.
Okay.
Christina, how can people find you?
Well, right now, my channel is still, it goes under the Rat Lay It Down, but I have it titled Red Rock Fit, but for some reason it still has the same link. So, I guess I don't have a way of putting that in the chat. So, but my main thing is the YouTube, and I am now connecting it in the description to the social media links. So, yeah, I don't know how to add that to the chat room.
Okay, that's excellent. And Dylan, how can people find you? The people, because this obviously video is forever, and not only do we have an audience right now. Let me just say this to the audience: if you liked what you heard tonight, put in the number 1 in the chat. Let me see a bunch of number 1s, and that'll let me know that you listened and that you liked it, and give us some feedback. And in the meantime, Dylan, tell the audience where they can find you.
So, I mean, the best place to find me right now is just go to YouTube and type in Dylan Madden and look for a handsome bald guy. Maybe I'm wearing sunglasses in one of the thumbnails, and subscribe to that channel. Also, you can find me on Twitter at MoneyBagLives, and I post there every day, all day. So YouTube, Dylan Madden, Twitter, MoneyBagLives.
Fantastic. Well, this was great. You are the what I'm calling the resident expert in this area, and I want to ask: would you be willing to come back and do this again?
Yeah, let's do it. Let's do it. This is fun.
Excellent. That's great. Well, I want to say thank you to the audience for watching. Get on the health, wealth, and positive relationship train. It's the only way to go. It's the only way to live. And what is the impact of success on your life? And it's the last thing I'll ask you. What is the impact of all this success? How is it helping you, Dylan?
I mean, it's just helping me become a better person. And I know that sounds very cliche, but like growing up, I always had like low self-esteem and all this other stuff. And then as I've become more and more successful, and I see that my mom's taken care of, I'm not at the income level I need to be to get her to Dubai, but I need to take her to Dubai, have the best medical care possible, but she doesn't have to worry about a job. So every morning I know my mom doesn't need to wake up and go to some job. She doesn't need to worry about anything. My girl works for my company. She doesn't have to worry about anything. I can look at myself in the mirror and see everything that I've achieved. And for me, it's not necessarily as much about like, oh, look at me, look at all the awesome stuff I have. It's more so seeing that I've got a guy that literally moved from Ohio to never left the country before. I mean, I think he went to London for a Dan Pena thing, but had never really left the country. And he's living right down there at the bottom of the building in his own apartment, loving life. He's like in his mid-20s, loving life. I see all the students that I've been able to help. And it all started with me being some kid that, what's WordPress? How can I make a thumbnail? It started from that. And it started from me cleaning trash cans. And I won't even describe the things I've had to clean, but it's disgusting. And now I'm sitting here in the 28th floor of a penthouse in Paraguay, living my best life. And I get to take care of the people that I love, the people that I care about, the people that work for me. And for me, that's, I guess, what success has done for me. Hope that's a good enough answer, but that's it.
That's fantastic. It's very inspirational, and I was inspired tonight. So I want to thank my guest, resident expert Dylan Madden, and also the woman in the hot seat. Boy, I saw that pen going nonstop for 2 hours. And I want to thank both of you for being on the show tonight. and I hope it was inspirational for all the audience. So thank you, everybody. Have a great evening, and until next time, take good care of yourself and dream bigger. If people aren't laughing at your dreams, maybe those dreams aren't big enough.
Thank you, George.
Absolutely. All right.
Thank you for this.
All right. Good night, everybody. Take care.
Thank you.